What's up, everybody? It's your girl Juan Lorene, and we are after the show. That's right. This is my new gig, y'all. I still got my new music mondays going on. That's my baby right there. That still comes on 7 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube every Monday, 7 o'clock p.m. Still bringing in those new artists, still doing all this. I created this show for people that are not local and who deserve to be seen on a screen. All right, so today's show is being brought to you by I'll Do It For You Handyman Service. They do it all. Auto mechanic stuff, anything that you need done around the house that's not getting done, that hubby don't have time to do, or that hubby can't do, then we are there for you. I'll do it for you. All right. So again, this is the show that's different from the one that I do on BU Radio Network. This is still the Wong channel, though. Let's not forget that. Still the Wong channel for sure. All right. So I have a very, very special guest tonight. You know, all of my guests are very special. I know a lot of good people, a lot of good artists, and this just happens to be one of them. I met this young lady, wow, maybe a couple of 3 years ago, maybe a couple of years ago. And she was just touring the country, just doing her thing, and we bumped heads, and we bumped into each other. I brought her on my show, and hey, we've been hanging out ever since. I definitely keep up with her. Her name is Kelsi, y'all. What's up, Kelsi?
What's going on, Wong?
It is so good to see. I'm doing good. It is so very good to see you. You are still doing your thing. Still doing your thing.
Still doing it. Only by the grace of God. Only way I made it.
Honey. You know, I lost you for a little bit, and I said, well, let me just go back and see. And I found you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram. So I started following you there. So I knew you were doing stuff. But, you know, the public doesn't know you. So I got to act as if I don't know you. So let's get started by talking about where you're from originally. It looks like you were from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Is that where you were born and raised?
Yeah, born and raised out there. Yep, lived in New Orleans for a few years, which I'd rather claim that than Baton Rouge. But yes, born and raised in Baton Rouge.
I see. So did where you come from influence your love for music, or did it come from someplace else?
You know, I think it definitely had a lot to do with where I came from. Obviously, like being in the South, like music is a huge thing. But my middle school band teacher was actually the person that got me into music, which obviously if I would have went anywhere else, I wouldn't have met him, and that wouldn't have sparked. We started off learning blues, so that is kind of like a root of what I do right now with my music. So all kind of where I came from, definitely. But I've also picked up on a lot of stuff outside of Louisiana for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because you are pop, R&B, and soul.
Yeah,
people wouldn't know that by looking at you. Yeah.
I used to always just be like, people would be like, what kind of genre are you? And I'm like, I don't know. It's subjective. I mean, you tell me, because I don't even know. It's like, it's definitely an infusion of different styles. Grew up with a lot of music in the household, just like on completely different ends of the spectrum. So that's a huge influence. So yeah, it's not really one genre. It's kind of a little bit of everything, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
It's a little bit of everything. Right. So after this show, we're going to send people to your website or to your social media or wherever they can hear it. And they'll see what we're talking about. It's just flavor. It's definitely flavor. All right, so about what? Okay, you said middle school. So is that when you started creating and writing and producing and everything, or was it later than that?
Yes, 8th grade was mainly just me learning guitar. We learned it for about half a semester, and I've never had music lessons since. So everything since then has just been self-taught, singing-wise as well. But Yeah. Mainly, I think I started doing the writing like my freshman year. I started writing, and I formed like a little group in school, like my junior year in high school, with one of my friends back there. In high school. And yeah, I don't know. From there, it was like, oh, I think I can like do this. And so I've just been kind of doing it just on the
Yeah,
side, not really ever taking it seriously. But I started taking it seriously about a few years ago and actually like recording my music and like putting it out there for people to listen to and performing around town and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of still fresh,
yeah,
but I've been doing
yeah.
music
So
for a long time.
yeah, so any of those people that you were in your freshman year with, were any of them still around? Do you still keep in contact with them, or are they still into
Oh
music?
yeah. Oh yeah, I still keep in touch with them, and they still
Okay.
remember those songs from high school. I'm like, I don't even remember that. Like, what, like, but it's crazy. Yeah, a lot of friends that I still keep up with, and yeah, those were the good days, man. Those were the good days when you were just,
Those were the
creating
good
just to do it,
days.
because you were bored or you had nothing else to do. It's not like how it is these days. It's a whole different world now. But yeah, back then we just used to just. I mean, we would jam out for just hours, just for the love of it, and it still is for the love of it.
Yeah,
But it was just something different because it was way more intimate back then. Not a lot of people were hearing it, so
right.
it was more personal. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I got you. I got you. So, what started you on your journey to go cross country and just go to these cities? I was just amazed at your courage. And when I speak about you, that's what I talk about, how courageous you were to get out there in the world and just start going from city to city. What made you do that?
I don't. I literally describe it as a dream because I don't even know. Like, just something inside me was like, it's like I have to go and I have to go now. So it basically like my grandmother had got real sick a few years back. Was having a lot of heart problems, so I was out in the sticks, like in the boondocks of Louisiana, with nothing to do, just bored. It's like super quiet at night, so you really just like in your head a lot. And I had this weird dream about taking all the seats out of my car and building a bed and traveling around doing music. And I was like, well, that's kind of crazy. And so I like woke up the next day and had planned it out. And the next thing I knew, within 2 weeks, I had left. And it was really kind of like a spur of the moment decision. It's not like I'd been thinking about it. I'd been doing music and like I had just did a festival back home, and I think that like kind of sparked something in me that I was just like there is no other feeling like this, and I've been chasing that feeling ever since, on the road and meeting new people and playing in different places and stuff. And yeah, that I don't know, something just pushed me out the door, and I just was like, I'm gonna go with it. And I'm here years later still doing it, and it's getting
Still
better and
doing
better.
it. So yeah, so you made your car, the backseat of your car, out of a bed, and you just travel from city to city, and you're
Yep,
still
yep. I
doing
have
it,
a
Kelsey.
Honda CRV, and I only got one seat. People are like, "Can I ride with you?" I'm like, "Nope, you can't. I ain't even got no other seatbelt. You can't even strap in my car. No other way. It's just me, a bed, and a plant in there. Like yeah. Just
So
going
what's the
around. I
plant for?
usually do what now?
What's the plant for?
I don't know. I was in Walmart one day. You know how you just impulse buy, and I just bought a plant. I was like, I don't know. Oh god. So I have a plant now. His name is Clyde. He's doing great. He's thriving in the very humid environment. I don't know how, but
Wow, wow, you're such a nature girl. So, how many cities, Kelsey, do you think you've been
oh
in?
man, I've probably done hmm, probably at least I'm gonna just say like at least a solid 20, but it may be more. It may be more than that. I've been in about almost 10 different states now, and I kind of travel probably to at least 3 to 4 cities or so. Sometimes more if there's little small towns to do gigs. So yeah, I've been moving around a lot.
Yeah, so it's the same model that we had here. We met you, and then you just got gigs, different places and things like that. Is that how it goes? That's how it's
Yeah,
working for you.
yeah. Basically, the way I've been kind of maneuvering it is like when I get into a city, I'll Google all the open mics that they have in town, and that's actually where I
Oh,
get
okay.
my start from. I go to every open mic in the city. So if they've got 20, 30 open mics, I'm doing all 20, 30 open mics. I go
What?
in, I network with other musicians, and that's usually how I get gigs. Either the hosts know where to go, or the other musicians that are local to the. Because I don't. That's the problem. Like when you're new in town, you don't know where anything is or where the good venues are and stuff. You know, you can drive
Right,
around, but
right,
it's good if
right.
you know somebody and they could vouch for you. Like, oh yes, I've heard this person. Like, you should definitely give them a gig or something. Yeah, and so that's how it's been working out. Is just by going like, yeah, to the very bottom of it of the music chain. Like as far as just starting out, it's like hit up everybody and anybody I can in the in the open mic scene, and then work my way up the chain. And that's just what I've been doing.
Yeah. So 10 states. You have a 40. Well, 41 was how well you, I guess, to go. What are your? When will you ever stop this?
My mom asks me the same question. I'm like, I have no idea. Um, I don't know. I think it's kind of like I'm in this really cool place of just enjoying it where I'm at, and however long it takes me, I'm okay with it. If it takes another 2 years or 7 years, I'm just enjoying the process of it, and I trust in it fully. So I'll stop whenever it allows me to stop. Until
Yeah,
then, though, I'm just gonna keep pushing it. Yeah.
yeah, but right now it's working for you.
Yeah, it's working. I haven't died yet, so it's definitely
Yeah,
working. I
yeah, and
haven't
you
died.
and you and you eat okay and sleep okay and get enough rest and all of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes too much rest. I've got the inside of the car so blacked out that sometimes when I have like late nights or whatever, and I'll be sleeping in the car and I wake up and I'm like, oh, it's probably like a cool 9 a.m. I stretch out the car and I get outside, it's like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I'm like, oh, but it's so dark. Yeah, I've got a pretty good setup in there now. So
Yeah, yeah, man. So you've been out there for a minute.
yeah,
Um,
about 3 years.
so what is your goal for this? Yeah, what is your
Um,
goal? Are you hoping to be recognized by major labels or independent labels or doing your own label? What is your goal?
Um, I don't know if I would really want to go like mainstream or not, just because I've always been an entrepreneur, and I feel like I have the means and the ability to create something of my own. So I kind of feel like I'd like to be that artist that's like the word of mouth artist, that like it's kind of like a hidden gem, and kind of let the people, that really gravitate to it, rather than like going somewhere and just like monopolizing off of like a certain look or a certain sound and trying to fit into this brand. Like I don't think that music is just a brand. I feel like, and I'm not discrediting anybody that's in the industry, because I do think that it does provide great platforms, but I think I'd like to keep it more on like a personal level, and try to, yeah, just do it with people that are out there in the everyday life of it, that like I'd rather build a community of musicians and other entrepreneurs and local managers and people that are aspiring to do big things. Give the work and the opportunity to them, and like let us all come together to build something, rather than somebody who's already got $1 billion, and just going to put more money in their pocket, kind of deal. So
Yeah,
I think one
yeah.
day probably like having my own label or my own thing, but yeah. Yeah.
But right now you're just having fun doing what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, just having fun with it, and just growing a fan base, because that's the biggest thing right now, is trying to get it out and into people's ear is the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So your fan base is growing, most
Yeah, it's
definitely.
getting there.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely getting there. So do you ever get asked to come back to a city? Like, I think we were trying to get you back here in Vegas. Did you ever come back?
Not yet. I haven't been back to Vegas yet. I need to come back. I did go out for, I think it was, I was literally in town for a day for the jam that they do out there. Do you know the jam? Um, Las Vegas Jam. It's like an open mic thing, but they've actually kind of moved up some as well now. But yeah, I think
Okay.
I was out there for
Okay.
like a day for that. But yeah, I do get cities and places asking me back. Austin's been a big city, and I recently was in Houston and was getting a lot of great reception out there. So that's also, I think, another thing that I'm trying to figure out too is, where are the fan bases and where am I going to grow the best, so kind of just traveling around and getting to know the areas and the people out there. So, but yeah, people are actually back. I'm like, okay, I'll be there.
Yeah. I mean, your strategy and how you move it just amazes me to have that much courage to just get out there and do it. Now you also are working on a clothing line, or you have a clothing line. It's called You're Enough.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so how did you come up with that? It has to do with people that have mental health, right?
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started the line at the beginning of the pandemic because I couldn't work, I couldn't do music anymore, and there was I've always done art, like, and always used to paint stuff for people back in high school and everything, but I don't know, it was just kind of one of those things that started out of boredom, and then I was like, I don't know, maybe this could be something, and it kind of grew itself. But I was thinking probably for about a year or so prior to that of trying to get some merch stuff for my music just to have stuff to sell at shows. And this just kind of ended up being a thing, but it kind of became its own thing to help raise awareness for mental health. And I
and
also
and also
donate to different
self love.
organizations.
And so you're
Yeah.
on the road, sleeping in your car, and still donating.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a phenomenal story! I mean, you're phenomenal. You really are.
Well,
So the clothing line is also. You also say that it's to promote love for self. So how does those two go together?
yeah.
The
So
mental health and the love for self.
yeah, I think that's where the root of a lot of mental health starts, right? We have people that come in and out of our life and kind of they make us feel belittled, or they discredit who we are, maybe because we might be a little bit different, or just don't think the same as they do. And I think sometimes that stuff sticks with you. And so the biggest thing that I feel like we're missing nowadays in the world is like people really taking the time to get to know themselves and love themselves as is, right? Um, and I think that like you're enough is kind of that emboldening statement of like, no matter who, what, where you are, it doesn't matter. Like you are worthy in whatever form you are in, as is. And yeah, and also for people that are struggling with addiction and suicidal thoughts, to hopefully reach out to them to let them know that they're not alone, that there's other people out here that are struggling, and we all are just kind of struggling together, and just not even realizing that we're collectively struggling as a whole.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
was in a conversation with my life coach today, and she said, you know what? All of us are a little crazy. It's just on
it's
different
true.
levels. That's all.
That's all. That's
But
all.
managing that crazy is the challenge, and that's where the mental
Yeah.
health piece comes in. If you can't manage it, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, things are a little crazy. So you're out there um, uh, selling merchandise and donating and so forth. What about what you're doing right now? What city are you in
Well, I am currently on a nice vacation in Gulf Shores, Alabama, for literally the
now?
weekend. We came down. My godchild. I don't really get to see them often because I'm always on the road. So once a year we do a beach trip, and it just so happened to be this weekend. So I am actually currently enjoying off time.
Off
But yeah, I
time.
was
Okay.
prior to this, I was out in Houston. I was out there for like a week, and really cool. Met a lot of cool people and stuff, and going back out there. But I've been in Austin for kind of for the majority of the last month or so. It's kind of back and forth between Austin and Houston area. So once I leave here, I'm going back to Austin because I have a show July 15th out there, and I'm going to be playing with a sax player. So it's going to be
Okay.
like a whole thing. But yeah, so I'll be back on the road as
Oh
soon as I leave.
boy. Yeah. So that's your. So you have a show scheduled. You said on what date? The 15th.
On July 15th. So it's actually this upcoming Thursday, I believe. Yeah.
This
Yep.
upcoming Thursday, you'll be there. But now you're on vacation with you and your godchild or whatever, and then you'll be doing that on the 15th. What's after that? Are you going back to? Are you going to stay in Texas?
Yeah, so I'll be back in I'll just literally go straight to Texas. Yeah, I'll come back for like a day and, get my car set up and ready to go and get back out on the road to be out there for this week. So, yeah, I'm probably going to try to pass through Houston on the way, and try
Ooh,
to hit up a venue while I'm out there. But yeah, it's like a
Houston.
beeline
That's
straight to
huge.
Austin. Yeah,
Yeah, that's Beyonce's hometown. A lot of people, Erica Badu. Oh my God, so many came out of there. So you
yeah,
should be able
crazy.
to really make some really good connections. So what's going on with your YouTube page?
Oh, yeah. So I am, slowly getting better at putting content together. Let's just say I am a one woman show. I always disclose, like, look, you know how it is. You signed up for one thing to be like, oh, I love doing radio. And next thing you know, you're like, okay, I have to do like seven other jobs plus radio. So that's just kind of,
Yeah.
but I have been putting up some videos and will be continuing with a lot of live performances I have coming up. The most recent was out in New Orleans with the sax player that's going to be with me on the 15th. We met up literally the night before. He heard my stuff and was like, we should jam. I was like, I have a show tomorrow. And he's like, okay. So we did this basically improv show, and it was awesome. I mean, it was so cool. He killed it. It was like a whole vibe. Yeah, so that one's up there. So if people are looking to try to hear what I sound like, or if they want to guess what genre I am, feel free to be my guest. It's on my YouTube page. You can check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'll have some more live performances coming up soon too. Yeah.
Yeah. So now go ahead and give your website and your social media platforms.
Yeah, so website's going to be kelsimusic.com. So it's KELSI music.com. And then social media, you can find me the same way. On Instagram, it's Kelsi_music. And then Facebook, YouTube is just Kelsi Music. You can find me. Same for streaming platforms like Spotify, iTunes, all that. Yeah, it's just Kelsi Music. Mainly because I couldn't just get
Kelsi.
Kelsi because somebody else had Kelsi. I said, come on, now I got to be Kelsi Music. I'm going to come up with a cool name eventually, though. But that's how you can find
Yeah.
me for now.
So basically, but the one thing about your website, if they go to your website, it's all there.
Oh, yeah. They can get to it from there. Everything's there. I forget
Yeah, they can
to.
get to it from there.
That's why, you know what? That's why I keep you around to remind me because I got to get together.
Yeah, I went to your website. That you sent me, uh, everything was there. So when we share this, I'm gonna put that link in there again. When I put it out there,
Yeah.
so people can go ahead and follow you because, like I said, you are unique in your approach to this business. So, what's the one thing you would tell or you can share with new artists that's up and coming like you?
Oh man. Um, you know, I think the first biggest thing would be like don't get discouraged because it's so easy. I feel like it's there was a lot of times in the beginning of this where I was like, what am I like this is not even worth it, or sometimes things don't shake out, but you kind of just have to keep pushing through it because to be honest with you, recently I actually went through and was looking at footage from when I first started doing this, almost 3 years ago now, and there has been a significant improvement from back then to where I am now. And had I have along that way just been like, it's not working out, people aren't catching on, like the energy that I get at shows now is like a complete 180 from what it used to be. And it's just literally been
Really?
consistency, practicing, and just yeah, it's crazy. And I think that like people, I definitely think that there was something there in the beginning, but it's a lot more full formed and like polished than it ever was before. And yeah, it's just mainly like consistency, and then you've got to be the one to believe in yourself first and foremost. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of trials and tribulation, and if it's something you really want, and if it keeps you up at night, and if even if it doesn't pertain to music, just anything in life that you're passionate about, if you dream about it, then you should at least try to pursue it some kind of way. And if you got to start small, but don't ever put it to the wayside, or don't ever think that like, oh, just because it didn't work out this one time, it's not going to happen. Because yeah, I can't even tell you the experiences that I've had along the way, that alone is rewarding and gratifying, for chasing what I'm doing. So yeah,
Yeah.
just keep at it. Keep at it.
It reminds me of a quote from LeBron James. I'm into these guys and their mantras and their quotes, but the only way you can succeed is to fail. So it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
That because this way you can look back and say, okay, I should have done this, that we're gonna do that differently. And I think that's what you're doing. Because I know when we saw you here in Las Vegas, you were good. So if you're better than that, Kelsey,
Yeah, it's way better, Mom. You would be like,
it,
okay, right. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, side by side performances. I'm gonna send you something just for you to look at. Side by side, you'd be like, wow. I
yeah,
mean, you can just, there's just a lot of growth that has happened. But that's true. You got to fail. You
yeah,
got to be okay with failing, man. That's like, and it's tough nowadays too, right? Because we live in this society where it's so easy to compare yourself to people online. You remember like back in the day, like people couldn't even call you after 9 until your minutes was free. Like when you went home, you didn't have to think about nobody at school. You didn't have to see them online. But nowadays, you're just like constantly surrounded by everybody and their, quote unquote achievements, which half the time might not even be what is really going on. But, it's so easy to be discouraged in this
yeah,
world, man, because,
yeah.
you're
It
just not
is. It is.
allowed
I
to
tell you
just
what.
be.
Yeah, to your point about the old days when we used to have to wait until till a certain time to make calls for 3 minutes. Man, this social media and this technology has taken us to a whole look. I'm sitting here talking to you from my home studio, and you're in
It's crazy.
Alabama,
Yeah.
and we're gonna share this thing all over the place, all over social media. It's good now. It's
It's good.
good,
Yeah, it's great.
and
Yeah, it's definitely got its perks.
yeah,
It definitely does. It could be used in
definitely,
just like anything, right? It could be used in a good way or a bad way. You got to just, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, use it to spread good.
Exactly. So we're definitely getting ready to wind it down. Too long. I know you're on your little vacay, and that's good for you because I don't see you taking a lot of those. But anyway, is there anything else that you'd like for the public to know or uh, about anything before we go?
I think the biggest thing is I am working on recording new music. I have like at least 12 songs right now that are ready to go. They just need to be finalized and recorded. So um, definitely, if you're, if you hear some of my stuff and you're interested in hearing more, there's actually, if you go on my website, you can subscribe, and I will straight up send you a link of some stuff that's not even out if you want to just check it out, just to have something to listen to in the meantime. But if you're not patient, if you can't wait, I totally understand. I will send it over. But with for sure within the next couple months, the next month or two, there'll be a
Okay,
lot of new music out. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah.
absolutely. So you make sure you send it to me so that I can share with everybody.
Oh yeah.
Kelsey, it's
Yeah.
been a pleasure. It's been a
It's been
pleasure
great as
speaking with
always.
you. I think you're just phenomenal. I think you're different. I think your approach is going to get you somewhere one day. And just don't forget about us down here doing these little interviews.
Oh, never. You already know. Anytime I'm in Vegas, you got the exclusive every single time and anytime. You already
All
know.
right. All right.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, you enjoy your vacation. It was great speaking to you. I'm getting ready to do the post production on this interview so we can get it out to everybody. And that's going to do it for me.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, and thank you for putting together a platform for artists. I mean, obviously, like you said, we met a while back, and it's just a cool thing. Like, we wouldn't be anywhere as artists without people like you to give us a place to talk. So I really appreciate
Oh,
that.
well, you're welcome. Just anytime. If you got anybody you want to refer to me, just let me know while you're out there.
Will do.
All righty. So we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. See you later.
Uh, okay. Bye bye.
Oh, is it live? Wait, is this you or is it not?